Hey guys, how are you? I'm up in our room and I'm going to talk us through work job boxes. With our PowerPoint, it keeps getting lighter and lighter, so I have to touch it every few minutes to get it dark so you guys can see it. This is slide number 1, and I'm going to kind of stand out of the way each time and be able to, actually I'm going to stand over here, so I may have to darken it again. And talk from here so I can change out the slides. Work jobs are part of the program called Mathematics Their Way that I've told you guys about, and it is in your math activities section on Blackboard. But a work job box is meant to be a skill that a child can work on in a box type activity but mimics real life skills. So I'm going to stay close to the PowerPoint and then demonstrate some of the boxes for you guys. A work job box is simply manipulative activity, and we know that we always need to start with children at that concrete level. It's a manipulative activity using familiar concrete materials from the child's world that is designed to be completed in about 10 minutes by a kindergarten, first, or second grade student. So I'm going to show you the boxes in just a few minutes. Tight. Mathematical skills that can be developed using work job boxes: counting, one-to-one correspondence, forming numerals like writing the number 2, numeral recognition, recognizing the number 1 or the number 6, and understanding that it's 1 of something or 6 of something, conservation of number, relationships with and between numbers, the process of addition, the process of subtraction, interpreting symbols like addition, subtraction, and the equal sign, and then writing and solving addition and subtraction equations. And again, when we teach mathematics, we always want to make sure that we start out at the concrete level, and we always want to connect, build that bridge between familiar concrete to those abstract symbols. And a lot of times we start out in mathematics with those abstract symbols. For example, just giving them math problems, 2 plus 2, when we really should start out with something concrete that they can touch and manipulate. So if you'll just kind of remember this bridge, and I've used 2 words because you'll see these words used with each of these skills. So concrete is also known as concepts. So those words there. Connecting is the same as semi-concrete, and then symbolic and abstract are just the symbols. So a lot of times I'll refer to concrete, semi-concrete, and abstract because that's how I learned them, but it's also concepts, connecting, and symbolic, and those mean the same thing. So I just kind of wanted to put those out there. Some fast facts about the Math Their Way program using the work job boxes and the calendar skills and all the things that go along with the Math Their Way program. Teachers can use the Math Their Way as a full program, and it's just like a curriculum book. You can do chapters 1 through 7 to develop the concepts of free exploration. Another term that we use is really kind of playing with those manipulatives, because we know that when we give students manipulatives, no matter what the age, they are going to really have issues with playing with them instead of doing what they need to be doing. So it's really good to put it out, let them have some time to play and manipulate those items before you start teaching, because if not, they're going to play with them while you're teaching, and you're going to have to teach that skill and the directions over and over again. So the concepts of free exploration, patterning, sorting, counting, comparing, graphing, and numbering. This is done through total class participation and small group work. So when we look at the boxes, you can use them class-wide, you can use them in a small group, or you can use those individually. While you're working on these math skills, attention can also be focused on the children's social skills rather than explaining procedures a lot, because children need to work with others and know how to work with others appropriately. So we're going to look at exploring the numbers from 0 to 9 at the concept level. So the children count out the same number of objects onto each counting area. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to show you some of our boxes and what we do with our boxes. So we laid out 19 boxes for us to use today and to look at. So I'm going to kind of go around and show you what those boxes are. The first one is kind of a Halloween theme, and it is, if I don't make you guys sick moving this around, so I may do this a little differently. Excuse me while I do this. So it's a box, and it looks like this, okay? I got these at the Dollar Tree. And it says Halloween on the front. So this is just a cutout from the Ellison die cutters. It's actually a school, but I made it black so it looks spooky. And what I did many years ago when there wasn't Oriental trading, I took beans and spray painted them orange. If you'll look at these, spray painted them orange. And then drew little jack-o'-lantern faces on there for the jack-o'-lantern, if you can see those. And then these are just my wonderful little white beans that look like ghosts. Okay? So, not using any abstract symbols, the teacher says, show me 4. And as the student, I can show the teacher 4. So that's what that looks like right here. Just counting out 4. Now, I could count out 4 ghosts or 4 jack-o'-lanterns. Or right here, I did a little bit of each one of those. So that is at the connecting level. That is at the concept level or concrete level. Okay? So that is one work job box that we can use. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Hopefully. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. There we go. And so that's exploring the numbers from 0 to 9. So you're just going to take the mat, and the child is going to lay out the number that you say. So they're not looking at any kind of numerals. It's all auditory and manipulative. So we have not introduced the symbols, which are the numerals. So that's exploring the numbers from 0 to 9 at the concept level. The next skill is exploring the numbers from 0 to 9 at the connecting level. And it says the children count out the appropriate number of counters to match each numeral. So at this point, you're going to give them numerals. I'm going to show you a mat that I have here. So, this box and all of the materials are in the boxes, hence they're called work job boxes. So I think this will be easier for me to do rather than moving you around. Your mat is your plate, and this box is called bacon and eggs. And so we have eggs, and this is white felt with yellow felt glued to it, and this is brown felt cut like bacon. And again, it's in the child's environment, something they're familiar with. So because it's semi-concrete, I'm adding the numeral, and I want them to show me what 5 looks like. So the 5 is going to be there, and they're going to lay out 5. Now, the child could have picked 5 eggs or 5 pieces of bacon, but I just did a little mixture so you can see that they see the different types of materials and that they clearly know the number 5. Okay? So this one is eggs and bacon. Number 5. So that is exploring the numbers from 0 to 9 at the connecting level. So concrete was no numerals and only manipulatives. Semi-concrete or connecting were the actual numeral and the concrete object. Lost my train of thought there. It's weird being in our room without you guys in here teaching to a blank room. Exploring the numbers from 0 to 9 is the next skill at the symbolic level. So we're looking at just numeral recognition, and we're looking at it at concrete, semi-concrete, and abstract. So with abstract, what I would do in the abstract area is I would say, show me 9. Now, with that, they can show me 9 concrete objects, but what I'm looking for here is, can they make the number 9 on a piece of paper? So each of the work job boxes has this cute little handy-dandy notebook. And what they would do at that point is write the number or the numeral 9, okay, right here. So I would want to make sure that they could write the numeral 9. And I'm going to watch 9. Now they could count it out, however they want to do it, but I want to make sure that they can write out the number 9. Okay, if they use the manipulative, that's fine as well. So I'm going to show you the manipulative because I paired up the numeral 5 with 5 of something. So this time I'm not showing them the numeral. I'm showing them, or just telling them the number 9. So again, this is when I had much time on my hands. These are some more little beans that I've spray painted to look like Easter eggs. So you can kind of see those. They're just little beans. And I have a little portion cup that I probably asked, could I take from Wendy's or someplace like that. And then I've got some little Easter egg grass. And I'm going to make sure that they can count out 9 little eggs in my nest. Okay, so I've got 9. So I can show them that there are 9. Or they can show me that there are 9. Just using my verbal command. So you've looked at the spooky haunted house, you looked at the bacon and eggs, and you looked at the nests. So those are 3 different boxes, and I'll show you, zoom in on all of those a little bit later. So those are the 3 levels with just numeral recognition. Now we're going to move on to exploring the operation of addition at the concept level. And again, you have this PowerPoint on Blackboard, so you can follow along with your own PowerPoint if this is too bright or it's odd. The children take turns in pairs verbalizing the combinations created on a counting area. There is no tool at this stage. So what we want them to do is to get out their manipulatives, and I'm going to use this one this time. And again, no numbers because, or numerals, because it is at the concrete level. So I have frogs and toads, and this works perfect for Conway at Faulkner County during this time of the year. So this is just a brown piece of construction paper and a blue piece of construction paper glued together, and it's laminated, but you do not have to laminate them if you don't. That's for durability. And so I want them to verbalize to me, and again, they can tell stories, and that's the best part of this. So they're going to verbalize, there were 2 frogs on the land, and 2 more in the water. How many frogs altogether do we have? And so you can kind of see we have 4 frogs. Okay? So that's the story that they're telling. Frogs. Or you could say frogs and toads. And I've got different colors, but you could have them all one color. That's completely up to you. So that would be at the concrete level. No problems at that time. This is a great time for them to talk about, you can listen to their verbal language, and we know how important that verbal language is. That oral language that we want to make sure is enhanced So children that have more experiences are going to come up with more stories. Some children are just going to be straightforward with it because they have some impaired language, or they have not been exposed to language as the others, as all have. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that was exploring the operation of addition at the concept level, okay, or concrete. This is exploring the operation of addition at the connecting level, and it says the children use counters to represent each equation concretely. So each of these boxes has within its contents, and I'm going to use this lovely Christmas tree, it has addition statements, and those addition statements are horizontal and vertical. So I'm going to use a vertical, and we do those because we want to make sure they can read those actual story problems, or whatever we want to choose to call them. So this is a beautiful Christmas tree, and it's made out of felt, and I cut it on the Ellison die cutter cuts because when I taught school, ours were really, really, really sharp. And here is my story problem, and it's 2 + 4. So these are my beautiful decorations that are going to go on my tree, and they're just little beads that I have used or found or whatever. So this is 2 + 4. So I want to have 2, and I'm going to use 2 white decorations, and 4 red decorations equals how many decorations? And we know the answer is 6. So they should be able to know that 2 + 4 is 6. And so that's what that looks like. 2 + 4 is 6. I hope you can see that without me dropping those. So again, great to use information from their environment. So that is at the connecting level, or semi-concrete. You're pairing up the actual problem with the manipulatives. And the third area is exploring the operation of addition at the symbolic level. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. So at the symbolic level. So what we want them to be able to do with this is to be able to say 2 + 4 = 6 and write that out. So hear it, make it, but they're not going to copy it from a problem. So it says the children build an operation problem from an equation card and record the process on a separate piece of paper. So what I like to do with this step is to again say 2 + 6 =, and see if they can come up with that. If they still need to use the manipulatives, that's fine. You could also give them the problem, 2 + 4, and they would write out 2 + 4 = 6 on their little notebook, again, because each of the boxes has a notebook, okay? Because what you want them to be able to know is that the symbol 2 and the symbol 4 added together makes 6. Okay? I hope you're all hanging on there. I'm not boring you to death. And then we're going to go to the third area, which is subtraction. And it's exploring the operation of subtraction at the concept level. So the children take turns playing a take-away game. So we're taking away. And this game verbalizes the process of subtraction to their partners, and we're not going to have any remainders. So again, I'm going to pull up another problem for you guys, a subtraction problem. Again, remember they can be horizontal, or vertical. And I'm going to use 6 - 2. And I'm going to use the spaghetti and the meatballs. So I have with me spaghetti and meatballs. And so what I'm going to do, what I'm going to want the child to do, is to come up with a story. And again, you could use just paper plates if you wanted to. These are little mats that come with the program that you just run off. And what I have here, the spaghetti is just brown yarn cut. And the meatballs are just these little palms that you can get at Hobby Lobby or Walmart. They look like this, okay? So I'm going to say that I went out to eat. Olive Garden is one of my favorites, favorite places to eat, but Verona is my new favorite.
So, because it's here in Conway and it is absolutely wonderful, giving them a plug. So I'm going to put on my plate. I have 3 meatballs and 3 pieces of pasta, or 3 pieces of spaghetti. And so if I have these 6 items, okay, or you could just use 6 meatballs, and I take, because my problem is, oh, I forgot to show you my problem. My problem is 6 minus 2. So my problem is 6 minus 2, so I'm going to have 6 items. I have 3 meatballs and 3 pieces of spaghetti, and I have my problem. So I'm going to have 6, and then I'm going to make up this cool story about my meatballs rolling off the table, you know, that cute little song. And I started with 6, I took 2 away, and now I have 4, okay? So that's my story problem. And again, getting that language out, but again, sometimes children without those language skills are going to need to have that. You know, some children don't go out to eat because they don't have that privilege to do that. So that may be something that you, again, have to look at and bring in a book, Spaghetti and Meatballs for All, or talk about spaghetti and meatballs, or talk about those kind of things so that they have that background knowledge. So that's another one. I also have another way to make spaghetti if you don't want to cut the yarn to make the spaghetti. I used little bitty pieces of macaroni, or you could use any that you wanted, and the palms to put in here for the meatballs. So you can do it a variety of ways. So that is exploring the operation of subtraction at the concept level. And the next one is exploring the operation of subtraction at the connecting level. So that's semi-concrete level. The children use counters representing each equation card concretely. Oh goodness, I got ahead of myself. The first one was not the equation card, that's why I left it there, so don't erase that from your minds. They would just take the spaghetti and meatballs plate and they would just make their story, just like I said, but they would not use the equation cards. I got ahead of myself. I knew I left it over there for a reason. You guys know how scatterbrained my brain is. So they would just take, or sort of how scattered my brain is. So they would just make their story. And I'm going to use this story to back up at the concrete level that I have 4 meatballs and 1 rolls off the table, and I have 1 left. So there's no writing at this time. There's no problem at this time. So erase what you heard earlier. Okay, so I just have my 4 meatballs, 2 rolled off, and I have 2 meatballs left. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in, I don't want to use 6 minus 2 because that'll just make things even more confusing for you guys because I just used it. I'll use 7 minus 4. So I'm going to use meatballs because they're easier to hang on to my plate, plus they're cute. But I've got to get 7 of them. Now, one thing you don't want for them to do, and this would be a child that does not understand what subtraction is, what takeaway is that they would put this story problem, 7 minus 4, and they would put out 7 and 4 and take 4 away, and you would start out with your number, which is 7, and they clearly don't understand. So you would want to make sure that they put out 7 meatballs. Okay, we've got our 7 meatballs on our mat. If you can see those. I wish I could do this a little bit better. And we're going to take 4 away. We're going to share them with our buddy. And we just have 3 meatballs left. So 7 minus 4 is 3. So that is at the semi-concrete or the connecting level. You bring in, again, those numerals. And lastly is exploring the operation of subtraction at the symbolic level. And again, the children are going to build a subtraction problem from the equation card. So I'm going to use 7 minus 1. And they're going to take this, 7 minus 1, and you want them to be able to write 7 minus 1 is 6. Again, if they need to use the manipulatives, that is okay, as long as they can write 7 minus 1 is 6. But as the students are working on this, one thing that makes this really good is that at the beginning, when you're teaching mathematics, you're going to need to get an assessment for the students, and you can give them the information that they need. So for example, if I have 25 kids in my classroom and I have some children that are at the connecting level in subtraction, and some that are at the concrete level, and then some that are the abstract, what individualizes this or differentiate, remember that term out there, is the bags. So the bags would help it to be differentiated. So for example, if I had Sam and Jennifer and Sarah all at the connecting level, then their bags are going to have would have cards in them, okay? They would grab those cards and then they would get whatever box they want to work with, and it makes a great tabletop activity. If you want them to work in groups, you would find the 3 or 4 that have the same skill, or maybe 5, and do that. So you could clearly have kids in your classroom that are at the numeral recognition stage, and some children that are at subtraction. So that makes this easy to use and to manipulate when they are working on those skills. So it makes great center activities and it makes great tabletop activities. I use these when I taught school. That's why some of these look a little old and ragged and are not things that you can get from Oriental Trading, handmade things. Miss Harrington used those when she taught. And then they get loaned out quite often. As a matter of fact, I have 25 and now it only looks like I have 19 in here. So I'm going to show you all the boxes. Again, when you get back in the fall, you will have 3 of these boxes, and I'll get to the 3 that you're going to make, or that are going to be made for you this time. You can see those. Okay? Are you ready? So, here we go. We looked at let's see here. We looked at oh goodness, now I'm going to have to Google it myself. Actually, I'm going to have to call my daughter over here to help me. She's working on her math. Say hi to them, Mary Kay.
Oh my gosh.
Show me how to do that where I can see it turn it around.
You have to stop the video. I'll just hold it.
Oh, okay. So here we go. You want to put it down on here so we can see it? These are the lovely ghost and pumpkins that are handmade. This is one that is watermelons and watermelon seeds. So these seeds are just black beans. You can see these. And if I wanted them to put out the numeral 5, I would want them to put out 5 seeds so that I knew that. Or if I wanted to make a subtraction problem or addition problem. And again, you individualize that based on the child's skill level, and that would be what was in the sack as well. We have the lovely bacon and eggs we looked at earlier. We have the lovely nest with the eggs in it. This is one we did not look at. And again, you always have these little notebooks in here for them to take notes on. We have the beautiful photographer at school, which he doesn't look like that anymore. You can tell how old these are. And we have the smiley faces. This one is one that I loved and my kids loved because I made the manipulatives their school pictures. When you take pictures, there's always proofs, and so the photographer would give us the proofs, and so I would make a game out of that for the kids, and they loved that one because they could put their buddies on here and make their story problems. You got to make sure that there isn't any bullying going on, because I had to catch that sometimes because they want to kick certain people out of their group. So that's the other one at this table, and then we have the lovely frogs and toads, or the frogs and the water and the land right here. The good old Toadsa. There you go. Now we're going to look over here. You guys look at the beautiful Christmas tree made of felt and the beautiful ornaments. We looked at the spaghetti and meatballs. And again, if you didn't want to use this mat, you could use a little small paper plate. This is one that you guys are going to work on, or that you guys are going to have. Yours will be white, so you can color it however you want to. But this is called River Rocks. And it just takes little rocks like you get at the Dollar Tree. These are actually rocks. And you have your picture, and you can put, let's see, your math problem. And with your math problem, let's see, I want to see if they know the numeral 2 at that connecting level. And so we have 2 rocks. They can be in or out of the water. And again, that helps them with telling that story. Most kids are going to know that one. And it's a fairly easy, cheap one to make. The next one is apples and apple trees. So these are apple erasers. Again, this is post Oriental Trading. So again, if I had the numeral 5 or 2 or whatever, I could lay that out, or I just wanted them to show me 5. They could, if we're doing subtraction, 2 fell off, and we put them in our apple basket. These are just little portion cups. These are actually communion cups from my church that I kept one Sunday after communion, after I asked permission, so I did not take them from church. These are cookies, and this probably, besides bacon and eggs, these are my favorite. These are beautiful Oreo cookies. You could make them really Oreo, and you could put white and black on the other side if you wanted to. And then these are the beautiful chocolate chip cookies. And so we have our plate and we have our cookies. So if I wanted them to show me 2 cookies, they would put 2 here. If I wanted them to show me 3 cookies and take away 1, or 2 cookies and add 2 more, I could do that as well. Okay? So that's another one, the cookies. We have the airplanes and the airport, or the landing strip, not necessarily the airport. These are just plastic airplanes that I got at the Dollar Tree again. And I have the runway here. And again, we could have 2 on the runway and 1 coming in, which makes 3, or you can make your subtraction problem, or we have 3 airplanes getting ready to taxi. Now, again, children with more, that have had those experiences, they're going to understand. This will be one that most of you are not going to understand unless you have a grandmother that sews. These are pin cushions. In the old days when we did some sewing, and people that sew still use pin cushions. So this is a pin cushion, and these are buttons. So again, these are just plastic buttons that I got at the Dollar Tree, I'm sure. And so if I wanted them to show me 4 buttons, they would put out 4. Or if we were making a shirt and we needed 5 buttons, but we got out 6, we might take 1 away. These are shells. See, what is the title of this one? Sandy Beaches. And so we have this lovely mat, and it is poster board with sandpaper, so you can fill it for the sand, and you have shells here. And so we can say there were 5 shells on the beach. There you go. If you want to make it a subtraction, there were 5 shells on the beach. 2 fell into the ocean or the water, and now there were only 3. Or if there were 2 on the sand and 2 washed up, then we would have 4. Okay, so again, this is another one that you're going to make, and this is chicken food, the lovely chicken food. And I usually either use popcorn, but it's getting a lot harder to find, or black beans. And this is the mat for the chickens, and you put their food in here. And so you can say one had 5 pieces of food, and one had 3. So altogether they had 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. Here's another watermelon seeds one, and this is a felt one. The other one was not felt, it was just colored, and that's fine. This is made of felt, and these are beans as well. Here you go. Children would know that. This is fish in the ocean. And so this is just a little mat, and you could make your own mats. That would look probably a lot cuter than these old ones. And then these are just fish erasers from Oriental Trading. So that's another thing there. This one is one that my students, when I taught school at Mayflower, they made because the boys wanted something gross. And so I gave them magazines. They wanted food and flies. So I gave them magazines, and they cut out food, some of their favorite foods. And I ordered these lovely flies from Oriental Trading, and it's really gross, but they loved those. And of course, that was the one that the students used quite often. Okay, so that's those. You are going to make the birthday cakes. I didn't show you the birthday cakes on your cake. Can you kind of slowly let them look at these? And I'm going to get the birthday cakes. Or not. This I didn't bring the birthday cakes. So the birthday cakes will just be a surprise for you guys. The birthday cakes are a mat with a birthday cake on it and birthday candles. And of course, kids love their birthday, and that's a great one to use, but somebody must have those. And so you will have the River Rocks, the chicken food, and the birthday cakes when you come back in the fall. So we will get busy this summer and make 72, 73 of each of those bags. And then you will actually, you have the numeral cards as well inside yours won't be in boxes, yours will be in Ziploc bags. Okay? So that is Math Their Way work job boxes. And again, these are easy to stick in a bag to send home, and to individualize it, you use the actual addition, subtraction, or numeral cards. And that will make it. Okay, bye guys. Again, I miss having you in class. It's weird being up here at night, and it's really weird being in this room without you guys. See you later. I hope this helped you understand a little bit more about work job boxes and the Math Their Way program. Thanks. See ya.